Greetings, divine mirrors. Sacred, awakening, remembering, gods and goddesses, one and all. Thank you for showing up. Welcome to episode number 11 of Voices of the Global Awakening, Tuesdays with Tess, from 5 to 7 p.m. Pacific time, right here so far on Facebook Live. It is my great pleasure and joy to be with you and to show up and share my face and share my voice and share my energy and share my consciousness and open up to channel to be the clearest, purest vessel of divine wisdom that I could possibly be, and hold the space for you to step into, for you to be the grandest, fully actualized version of yourself that you could possibly be. That is my goal and my intention. Welcome, Sasha Rana, Madonna Mama. So good to see you. Jan and Sasha. Blessings, sisters. So happy to have you here. So, as I was saying, this is episode number 11. Pat on my back. Very proud of myself. I am feeling enriched and fed by this experience, and as I receive feedback of other people being enriched and fed by the experience, it feeds me more. So it is definitely reciprocal, and I hope that if you are inspired, you will pay attention to the little icons at the bottom of your screen. If you don't know this, the best way to participate in a Facebook live stream is on your phone, because there's little icons that look like people. There's one that looks like a person with another little person inside of a square, which is like a computer screen. And if you click on that, you can let me know that you would like to come on and chat with me. And if there's a space for it, I certainly would be delighted to bring you on. And if you'd like to come on and you can't figure it out, you can type so in the chat and I can see if I can find you. It's not a perfect system so far without glitch. It has not been so far, and that's one of the reasons that we intend to go more sophisticated as we grow. In the meantime, it's fun to be a guerrilla and down and dirty and imperfect and call it good anyway, because waiting for perfection is way overrated. It's not fun. So it feels better to be alive and self-accepting, and it's like, okay, ready or not, virtual reality, this field of make-believe that we participate in and call it real. And we get to, once we master it, once we figure out how this game actually works and how to navigate it, then if we choose to, we get to create a life that we are absolutely thrilled about. And until then, we bang around a lot and we experience a lot of pain and a lot of challenge, and we witness others experience the same. And all we can do is pray for awakening and have as much compassion as possible for all of us. Amazing characters in the divine play. And welcome to the live stream, Arion Jay Goodwin, who is our special guest today. And I cannot wait to introduce you to him and have you experience his heart and his passion and who he is and what he is up to in this world as we explore the topic of purpose, calling, and passion. So I would start by saying, first I want to say, if you would be so gracious and generous, I would love it if you would invite other people. So instead of the first icon that has, if you're on your phone, the first icon that has a person and a little screen, which is how you would request getting on to talk with me, the next one over, that's a bigger size person. Welcome, Anthony. Good to see you. Is where you get to click on, and then you can tag other people. You can post it on your page, and then come right back here. And this way we sort of exponentially grow, because we access your friends list and your groups and whomever you are inspired to tag. Hi, Tess, I am on Stu's phone. Well, my assumption is that that's not Stu, that is Arion. And Stu is saying that he wants to join. I'm going to hold off on that a little bit, Stu, because I still want to kind of give out, if this were a live in-person event, we would call it like housekeeping, like the little logistical details that will make this technology work for us optimally to the best of its ability and the best of my ability, knowing how to work and play with it. So, okay, so Arion is on Stu's phone. This is interesting. Okay, and so, you know, it's been said that, and I've written about it in some of my songs, that we are the ones we've been waiting for. We're the Messiah banging at your door. Look in the mirror, see who's watching you. You are the deity you're praying to. I was going to go on, but let's just stop right there for a moment. We are all characters in a divine play. And because our souls are immortal and imperishable, we are enthusiastic to take on roles in this amazing 3D arena where we get to have bodies, and we get to have emotions, and we get to have thoughts, and we get to feel, and we get to interact with one another, and we get to act out archetypal themes. And maybe, Stu, you can type in and help me with how many different storylines do they say in playwriting or screenwriting or storytelling? There's only like 7 different storylines, or like boy meets girl, boy loses girl, like all these different things. And then there's all these different genres. And we have we have these archetypal battles of good and evil. And the best actors get to play the most difficult parts, the ones that are the most challenged, the ones that are wrestling with their conscience and wrestling with their circumstances and wrestling with their programming and wrestling with all sorts of different aspects of the human drama, right? And when we go to a movie theater, or we go to a stage theater, and we get like caught up in the play, and we're watching the action, we are marveling and as fascinated with those characters that are portraying the darkness as we are with those that are portraying the light. And yet, if we remove the costumes and we go into the green room, which is where the actors hang out when they're not on stage, we can recognize and be moved and inspired by the fact that these pure souls are agreeing to take on these characters for this time, so that we in the audience, also stars on the stage, but we're also audience. We're the stars and we're the audience at different moments. And so that we can get caught up in the story and we can forget who they really are and who we really are. And then we start rooting for the good guys and we start hissing at the bad guys. And we can get like really, really tormented, right? We can get really tweaked and tormented by what we witness and what we get exposed to, and in some cases, what we go through ourselves. So it's very complex, and it's very rich, and it's very miraculous. And if we have any kind of self-reflective level of consciousness, then we can examine our character and we can find our way to loving the character that we have been privileged to be cast to play. How are you doing out there? Are you hanging with me where I'm going with all this? Are you picking up what I'm putting down? So I would say that ultimately we are all on our own journey to that awakening, to being so grateful that we get to play the character that we are playing, that we decide to hold ourselves as precious. No matter who we are, no matter what we perceive that we have done or not done, or accomplished or not accomplished, like who we are essentially is so unique and so brilliantly crafted that we get to heal any perception of ourselves as imperfect and consequently ashamed or depressed or despondent or not wanting to be here or whatever it may be, because I contend that those of us who are unhappy to be here will likely depart this plane quicker than those of us who are ecstatically, genuinely grateful to get to be a character in this play, no matter who we are. So when it comes to purpose, calling, and passion, okay, Ariana, see you. I'll be bringing you on shortly. When it comes to purpose, calling, and passion, when you come out of the hypnosis of the character that you perceive yourself to be as the whole story of it, and you realize that you are a divine soul playing this character, you now have the opportunity to assess if you're satisfied with the direction that your role is going, or whether you might enjoy your character having some sort of a turning point, a life-changing epiphany, and then you take on a bigger, grander, more divine, altruistic role, if you will. So my next guest, who I'm delighted to introduce you to, one of the things that we realized that we had in common in the last few days with each other, with the person that we're also going to be speaking about, who was our guest's best friend of 30 years and his uh, confidant, collaborator in bringing his mission and calling and passion out into the world, his purpose out into the world. And what I realized that the three of us had in common, and certainly many of you, all of you who are drawn to a program that is boldly calling itself Voices of the Global Awakening, that what we are global visionary humanitarians. That our hearts and our characters have been blessed and burdened with this burning desire to do good on this planet and to see shift happen before our eyes, to see global awakening, so that we can look into the eyes of every single brother and sister and see the divine, see another self looking back at us. And so all of our fear, all of our prejudice, all of our judgment, all of our illusion of separation between us can dissolve, and we can all feel safe and joyous and delighted to exist. So that is what so many of us are here for and have been working for. And that is why we are called the Messiah generation, because there's just too many of us to crucify. And for each life that you erase, two shall rise to take their place. You cannot kill the will to carry on, for the soul won't ever cease in its goal of reaching peace, even though so many teachers may be gone. And the children of the children stand for all the world to see. We are here, we are strong, we are bold, and we are free. And the children of the children stand for all the world to see. We are here, we are strong, we are bold, and we are free. I could go on, but I don't want to. I would love to bring my brother, Arion Jay Goodwin, onto the call, and as I'm bringing him on, I am going to read you his bio. Okay, back on his phone. Arion Jay Goodwin, co-founder of Waterfall Music and executive director of the Paul Lloyd Warner Foundation. He is hey, welcome. I'm reading about you. He is a visionary artist, mentor, consultant, speaker, storyteller, and humanitarian. Throughout his life, Arion Jay has been a lover of whales, dolphins, and the magnificence of our global oceans. Marveling at, there's a lot of background noise, sweetheart. Where did I lost my place? Marveling at their beauty and power. As a child, AJ's greatest inspiration was the undersea explorer Jacques Cousteau. As a young adult in the 80s, he was first mate of an adventure sport dive boat called Peace. AJ educated teachers, parents, students, and groups of divers on nature consciousness and sustainability, bringing a depth of joy and wonder to the underwater world and their overall conditions. Since 1990, Arion Jay has worked closely with author, composer, and performer artist Paul Lloyd Warner, co-producing Paul Lloyd Warner's music live next to the ocean, Yosemite, the Grand Canyon, the Great Northwest, and over 100 locations. The music was then marketed, promoted, distributed, and sold, where AJ and Paul Lloyd Warner led ambassador street teams at some of the finest art shows, festivals, trade shows, and fairs, where they sold over 1 million albums and led to millions of people listening around the world. Talk about hitting a critical mass and sending a frequency into the field. Current creative projects now after the passing of Paul Lloyd Warner, rest in peace, 84 years old, from 10/5/1938 to 8/29/2023. AJ is now preparing with an international team the next stages of the legacy and PLW enterprises. AJ is dedicated to bringing inspiration, transformation, and healing to the planet through music, literary, visual media, and the arts. His current business focus is to provide listeners and fans with an experiential artistic immersion of peace, love, and wisdom, inspiring people to embrace their true nature of harmony and being connected to God and our universe.
Yeah, it's something that it's my calling. Ever since I was young, when I was, working on my father's boats, and he was the captain of these big boats, and we had so many unique experiences of where the ocean came and talked to me and gave me an understanding. And one time we had these French people that came out. I didn't know it was part of the Jacques Cousteau team. And
Amazing.
I asked my dad, I said, well, what are they talking about? And he goes, I don't know, but go over there. You'll learn something. So
Where was this?
that was in from the Newport Harbor. And so in
Okay,
Newport Beach, and we were out right along the coast right there.
I see.
Yeah. And then I remember going home and watching the underwater adventures of Jacques Cousteau. And there was one that really has stayed with me over and over, and how I teach this to the world is, the crops, a lot of times they have a runoff that goes, usually leads to the ocean. And a lot of the crops are filled with a lot of chemicals and pollution. And the runoff has gotten so bad, even way back then in the 70s, that the nothing can survive. And so Jacques Cousteau went down with his team. They did an underwater filming, and that's exactly what they saw as well, is that the um, out beyond these gigantic pipes that spew into the ocean, is that nothing was surviving. It was just very few. It was very barren. And so over these years, as I started scuba diving and in marine biology and ichthyology, oceanography, I really just delved into it. Then I got to work on the dive boat, and some guy threw a penny into the saltwater aquarium, and the fish died,
Oh my
from the
God.
copper oxides. And it just puzzled me over and over again to think that the how important these creatures have to have a good environment to sustain themselves, just like us on the planet,
Mm-hmm.
and how quickly we can use up resources to the point where we might not even have them from, overfishing. And then there's this whole, like a ripple effect that takes place. A lot of people might not know that somewhere between 40 to 90% of the world's oxygen comes from the ocean. And it comes
Wow.
from microscopic creatures smaller than grains of sand, the phytoplankton. And if we look at this in an overall picture over eons of time, they have been what is the balance of this planet to really create ecosystems that have been here far and wide. And yet within just a short period of time, we have polluted the waters. We as a carbon-based planet have gone, and we have sucked up a lot of the juice of our earth to create the oil and the gas and the kerosene and the rubbers and the plastics. And then as quick as we make it, we are one-time plastics. a lot of times they can get put into the ocean, or if they get put under the earth, it can take hundreds, if not probably even thousands of years before it would disintegrate. Now, when it's in the ocean, what is happening? The plastics get finally, they brittle up. The oils and all that come off of the plastic because they're an oil-based product usually, and they break into microplastics, smaller and smaller and smaller, and everything from the phytoplankton, the crustaceans, the fish, the birds, the turtles, you name it, whatever's in the water is feeding on them. And so the more I started studying about this and finding, oh my gosh, what a beautiful underwater world. And I got to dive a lot, and I got to, meet wonderful people that had more knowledge than I did. And I was just so curious. And then I was also got to this place of, I can be a voice. I, I, I want to inspire people. Well, how could I do that? Well, as a frustrated artist in 1990, next thing you know, I was a sculptor and a painter, and one of the sculptures that I was doing that went into this home in Los Angeles was the head of a whale, and then it had the tail, no body, and it was made out of rubber foam, and then I painted a gigantic scene. And from that, they paid me thousands of dollars for this. Well, I said, okay, this is part of my career. I like doing this. And this is also when computers started coming on the scene, when we had the small Macintosh 9-inch screens, black and white and all that. And then, being this frustrated artist, I go and walk into this art show, and I hear this beautiful piano music playing in the background. And as the music was playing, it was like, wow, that's really drawing me. This is the type of music that I would like to have. It was like, wow, that's really drawing me. This is the type of music that. And from that, I was listening to music that I knew I could go and co-create to have my own artwork with. And then I got to meet the maestro himself, Paul Lloyd Warner, right there in 1990. And I told him, I go, I'm not really here to buy any music today, but what I want to do is I would like to go and find the promoter, and maybe if you can do that, maybe I can come and sit next to you, and I can, share my art while you're playing your music. He goes, yeah, okay. So I go and meet the promoter. I come back. He's twice as busy. I then waited maybe a half an hour. I brought a couple of my sculptures over to show him. And finally, he's like, hey, I like your artwork. How'd you do? And it's like, yeah, I think I can get into the next show. And he goes, well, I see you don't have any money. Maybe if you would like to have some of my music, I want to give it to you for free. And I'm like, really? I've never been given gold on a silver platter. This is amazing. Okay. So I take home these cassettes before any CDs were made, and I started listening to them while I was doing my next sculpture creations.
Wow.
From that, he called me maybe a couple weeks later, and he said, hey, you know what? I'm going to be gone through the summer, and if you'd like to use my home and take care of it, I have my Busendorfer there, my piano, and I need somebody to watch over my home, and you can do your sculptures and your artwork right here. So I took him up on it. We arranged it. I got a flight up there to San Jose. He takes me on the 17-mile road. We come across down into Santa Cruz, and it's completely in shambles because of that 1989 earthquake. And everything was destroyed. We left there. We go up into where his offices were. His offices were in a converted chicken coop. He had this woman that she wore a bandana and some leggings. And she goes, yeah, hi, I'm Kim Tunella, and I'm booking his shows, and I do a show while he goes off onto another. And I went, wow, this is kind of cool. So we leave from there, and we had this opportunity to go up to his home. And you have to drive
Arion,
way up.
I'm gonna interrupt you for a moment. I think it's gonna be easier to listen to you without the music in the background, and then we'll just do a little segment of just listening for a little while.
You bet.
Because you're, yeah.
I can turn it down. That might help if I just turn it down some too.
Yeah.
So, okay. Well, that was some of the waterfall music for piano that I was playing.
Stunning. Stunning.
Yes. So, you know, I go up to his home and he says, you know, I've been tuning my piano for the last 4 or 5 days, and the piano tuner comes up so that I can get it just right. And from that, I'm ready to do a recording. Maybe you'd like to sit in on it. I'm like, yeah, sure. So I sit in on this first recording with the Maestro, this gigantic Bösendorfer piano that comes from Vienna, Austria. They're known as the Rolls Royce of pianos. They're hand wound and bound on the strings, and all the manufacturing is basically still all done by hand. And the high end sounds like a harp and bell like tone, and then the lower end is known for its extra keys for these concert grands, and has the low bass notes to it. And I give a prayer out to the Bösendorfer manufacturing company. They were just bought by Yamaha, and they just had a fire there maybe a few weeks ago,
Oh,
and it
wow.
destroyed a lot of the intellectual properties.
Oh, my
So
goodness.
give a prayer out to that wonderful
Wow.
piano company.
Interesting.
So, wow, what happened next was the guy that was supposed to go to Paul's journey and to tour up to the Great Northwest, he calls up and says, I can't go. I have a family matter and I have to attend with my family. So, of all things, I said, well, hey, I'm really good at sales. I don't want to go and stay at your home for the summer. I want to go with you on tour. I'll be a
Oh, my
great
God.
salesperson. So I had this opportunity. I made the arrangements. I go off on this maiden voyage. We had a 37-foot motor coach with a van that towed behind. And we go to the very first art show. And this woman comes up and taps on the music. And just hours after we opened up and we started making sales of his piano music. And she says, this is the music that saved my life. I wish I knew the man that made this music because I'm alive today. And she tells us that she had breast cancer and she wished she knew the person that made this music because she's alive today.
Oh,
And she
amazing.
was so touched by the music and she was crying. And I said, well, guess what? You're in for a treat. That man standing and signing his music to that other person, that's Paul Lloyd Warner. And she's like, oh my gosh, oh Maestro, Maestro, you saved my life.
Oh, my
And
God. Oh,
this
my God.
beautiful moment occurred, and other people are gathering around. What's wrong with that lady? What's wrong? And Paul turns around. He goes over to her. He picks her up as she was down, weeping and crying. And he said, ma'am, it wasn't me that saved your life. It was truly your own will to live. And my music was that instrumental piece of your hope that I know gives me such a passion to co-create even more music like this for healing.
How
And
beautiful. I have
so, yeah, he is
goosebumps.
just
Yeah.
been amazing in this journey that I've gone with him now. 33 years to date. 33
Today,
years.
really?
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh. Oh, my gosh. How auspicious that you're
Yeah.
here.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
of all things, we have had a passing of his life just here on August 29th, 2023. So we are blessing the spirit of the great Maestro himself as he's made his soul's journey out of the body and back into the realm, calling with the angels.
Yes. And so there's going to be a celebration of life this Sunday at the Seaside Center for Spiritual Living in Encinitas, California. And you want to share more about that?
Yeah, it's gonna be live simulcast. It's the Seaside Center for Spiritual Living is where we had also donated the Busendorfer piano.
That's so
Yeah.
great.
So anytime you go to the sanctuary, the piano is off to the side and it will be played during this celebration of life, which will be Sunday, October 22nd. The simulcast, if you want to go, that'll be starting at 3:45 PST. And if you would like to go to the event, people will be showing up. Probably you want to be there before 3:45 so you can get a good seat, and that way we can start the services. And Reverend Christian Sorensen, which has donated his time, and the sanctuary will lead the first part of it in a prayer, and then we will send it into beautiful music, Paul's prolific poetry, beautiful body of imagery and videos that will just carry you into the limelight of his beautiful life and career as one of the most prolific poets in love with the piano.
How amazing. And the name of the program is called the Last Blue Sound. Do you happen to have that piece handy to share?
Yeah, yeah.
That'd be great.
And
I'll be singing a couple of songs. I just want to share this is that uh, I've known Arion probably 20 years or so, I would say. And I've been friends with Paul about 10 years now. And he was such a gift in my life because he truly is a visionary artist who is so passionate and tapped in at such a deep level and so prolific and accomplished. He is considered the father of classical New Age music. Is that right? That's yeah.
yes, that's a good
And,
way to call it.
and I'm humbly honored that he was a major champion of my music. And there was not a time that he and I did not speak, whether in person or one of the lovely meals we would go out and enjoy together, that he was not so effusive with acknowledgement of the quality of my expression. And he really was like medicine for my
Mm.
heart and my confidence and my self-esteem because I felt if I could be seen by someone like him, then maybe I had something. So anyway, he had a couple of songs of mine that were favorites of his, and Arion has graciously asked me to join the tribute and share a couple of those songs. So
Yes,
I really look forward to that.
yes. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
he loved your music. He really felt it was the impact that people are ready to hear, and to really go deep and to have that feeling that really helps people open up and to feel real about their living, whatever it may be. You know, if you're in from depression or to being guided into your hope. And
Mm-hmm.
I believe watching the Maestro over all these years, he loved listening to the human voice. He was a true poet, and he was a very prolific symphonic composer as well, with these beautiful modern choirs and that as well. And one thing that he loved watching and listening to beautiful singers and songwriters, ones that had poetry that really would touch him enough to cry.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Mm-hmm.
when, you know, he would go back to his piano, and he would go back or live in nature. And
Mm-hmm.
after we had these experiences with people, he would sit down next to, you know, these epic places, and he would conduct and compose and perform, and to create this masterful sound
Mm-hmm.
that was from his heart and soul.
Yeah. What I would love you to do is um, and put on whichever piece of his that you wish to and share that last blue sound and then leave the piece on a little while longer so we could just like drop in with the music. But those words are spectacular too. So
All right. This one is called Prayer for the World. It's with the oboe and choir. It's a deep piece. It's one that you'd light a candle, and you'd want to remember those who have come before you, or those even still to come. And it has this beautiful choral, and then moving into the oboe. So let me see if I can turn it down some.
actually, it's pretty soft.
Oh,
I wouldn't turn it any. Yeah, you could actually turn it up a little tiny bit. Yeah, that's That's good. That's too low.
Is that good?
A little softer, a little one click down. No, that's too much. Okay, okay.
Okay. Wherever you are, walk out into twilight and gaze at the blue long enough until you can hear it. And gaze at the blue and feel it deeply, deeply, until it has drained the last blue sound into your soul. And when you feel the colors fade within you, open your eyes and gently let them go. I am the mother of a whale. The whole world loves a mother. Please, I beg of you as a lover, to cease from killing one another. I appeal to men of reason, and the women too. A baby whale is just as precious to a father as a human child is. Though I am a simple being, and many, many people could swim inside of me. Do you think even all your hearts together would equal one dear loving son or your daughters? Remember me with all the others, and be a whale. Just be. For, O human man and woman who spawn upon the land, your world rises from dark chasms far below these sands. We greet you with our songs, having lived alone among you in the waters of our years. Hear the voice, our shrill and call. We are your elders from the deeps. Listen through your hearts as we listen to the colors fade within you, and gaze at the blue long enough until you feel it, hear it, see it, know it, become it. For we are your elders from the deeps. Listen through your hearts as we, and you will feel our visions, great and small.
So deep. So deep, so sensitive, so tuned in and articulate, to be able to translate that frequency into words and into music with so much love and reverence.
Yeah. And we have a
What a
lot of
gift.
content. We have a lot that this modern day being, that he was born on Yom Kippur. Born 1938 on Yom Kippur at a Catholic hospital called the Queen of Angels in Los Angeles.
For those who
Uh,
don't know, Yom Kippur is the holiest day of the Jewish year, the Day of Atonement. That's
yes.
deep. That's
Yeah.
very deep. Hmm.
And so that was his soul contract to come in through his mother on this special day of atonement. And of all things, when he passed on August 29th this year, just a few month or so ago, his body remained in a special place. And when the final say so from everything happening from the state and that his body would go into cremation, the cremation happened on the Jewish New Year,
Rosh Hashanah.
on Rosh Hashanah, Friday
Hmm.
night, the same time as it started. And it's just amazing to think that
Wow.
the flow of the energy. And then the next week was, of course, Yom Kippur.
Right.
And then after
The
that
full
has been his
cycle.
birthday.
The full cycle. Yeah. So
Yeah.
Sasha says, "Wow, I love the poem." And Gio Pensino, who is a dear new friend that has been a business coach for me for the last couple of months. You will love him, Arion. And he says, did Arion get to combine the ocean creature sounds into the music of Paul?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Shay, I want to
Oh, yeah.
share a little bit about that process of how y'all got
Yeah. Yeah. We would, let's say we were on tour, we would get done with a show up at Reading, and we were up now next to Mount Shasta. And then in there we set up with deep cycle batteries and inverters, and he's creating these epic, majestic, and uh, grandeur themes. Oh, hey, where are we going next? Oh, we have a show right on the coast up in Monterey. Well, hey, that's great. Maybe we can do a recording up there. Sure. Okay. Well, what would we do? And so we had found that we could take the uh, sounds of the ocean or the sounds of other things and sample them into the keyboard, that while he would compose, conduct, and engineer all at one time, he would create this amazing, epic type of symphony sound. He loved creating works. He's done some which were just the oceans itself. Yet one like this one that I'll play is called Sunrisings. We were at the Monterey Bay, and we were more on the northern tip. And when you look out at the Monterey Bay, the sun is rising, but it looks like it's on the west. It looks like it's setting.
Oh,
Yeah,
interesting.
it looks like it's setting the way it is.
Oh, how
And you're,
interesting.
you're looking and going, how could that happen? This is amazing. So with that,
But
this is the type of
before
sound.
before you start playing, I want to say, so Stu says, I feel to be learning much more about both Paul and Arion with this program. And so I want to say, first of all, Stu, if you look at the description for this live, you will see bios for both Arion and Paul that include links to websites and podcasts and all sorts of cool information. There's also information there about the Sunday celebration of life. If you're near the San Diego area, you are welcome to join us live. And it is also going to be simulcast online for anybody all over the planet that would like to join us. So all that information is there in the description, as well as when Arion and I complete this conversation, I'm going to ask him to type all those links into the chat as well. So you can certainly find out more about both of them. Okay, you're on.
Yeah. Live chat. I I guess I can. I can make comments too. So, all right, I'll have
you,
to
you
put
can
this
wait till
piece
till
on. I'm going to
yeah.
let it play.
Thanks for that. Yeah, there's a little comment button at the bottom. So once you're playing, you could add those. while we're listening, or you can wait until we complete and
Yeah,
do
I
it
might
after. Either way is
have to
good.
go find some of those links and just prepare them for you.
Yeah,
So yeah, I
that's
think I
fine.
got
We
part of
got
it ready,
time.
but I'm not
We
used to doing it from
we
the
got
phone.
time. We got time.
I might
For
be able to
sure.
do it from my computer since I got that. All right, we'll see. We'll make it happen either way. All right. Well, so we're up in the Monterey Bay. We set up with deep cycle batteries and inverters. We set up multiple keyboards, and we're watching the sunrise early in the morning. We got the motor coach overlooking this epic scenery with beautiful ocean, and the whales are passing by. The Monterey pines are just epic, all wind blown back, and we're just like, wow, this is a magical place. And it was kind of chilly, so we didn't the sun was just coming up, so he had to wear some little gloves with his fingers sticking out, and we made it happen. And this piece is called Sunrisings with an S. So the
Ooh,
S is because there's multiple sunrisings happening for people around the world every day. So this
beautiful.
is this horn and oceanic experience for you.
Okay. I'm loving all these mystical experiences you're describing. Y'all listening, if you're in a position to, I invite you to close your eyes and drop in and breathe deeply. powerful. And this platform is not doing it justice. It's,
No, no.
it's not
Wait till
coming
you hear
across
the
as
tracks in their
exquisite.
full, and you put on headphones and you get the multi-dimensional experience. Paul was a cosmic being. He didn't do something that was just like a little lilty thing and it was just okay. Everything had cosmic consciousness behind it. And he
Hmm.
was an impressionistic virtuoso around doing this. And he tapped into the voice of nature, and we created a whole series. It first started out as an American symphony because we were on tour, that which will now be called Majesty, an American Symphony. Yet then, over 30 years of developing that album, it then moved into deserts, mountains, waterfalls, oceans, earth, stars. So that's a whole 6-hour series alone.
Amazing,
And
amazing.
then
So, okay,
we were just finishing right before his passing the album, which is now going to be called Compassion, a Symphony for Humanity. So
brilliant,
we're real
brilliant.
excited just about the musical works. And at the same time, in the opus of his great writings, I found thousands of pages of his writings, and there's this one that he is going to be wanting us to bring out first. And we had gone through the editing processes, and this will be the opus of his grandeur of it's going to be called Peace, Love, Wisdom by Paul Lloyd Warner, 21st Century Thinking for a New Humanity.
Wow.
And the music and the writings and the visuals, once they all start coming together, will bring people into full immersion.
Oh my God.
So
Yeah. So Stu is saying, I was very moved by how Paul would speak about Tessa's artistry, and now I'm moved by Paul's music. Gio says, is the music available online?
yes,
And you're going to put that
yeah,
link in the comments. Yeah.
yes,
And then Stu says, I see a huge moving picture of these natural creatures and his music. Yeah, yeah. I mean, we talked earlier. I really want for Arion to go see James Hood's Beautifica at the Fleet Science Center in Balboa Park, because it's a IMAX theater and it's a full immersion, multimedia, cosmic music, magnificent visuals, and just the power of that sound system, and his words, his beautiful words and voice on top of it. So that will be a big inspiration for you. Yeah, Stu, you should go see it too. I've seen it twice. It's excellent. It's absolutely excellent. And anybody who's watching that's outside of San Diego, you can take a look for James Hood's Beautifica, and I think it's playing in a lot of different IMAXs around the country right now. So we're just big fans
yeah.
of
We
his
should
work.
all make a journey to go see that. And that's as a matter of fact, a couple of the artists that we've been working with over the years. One of them, the painter, his name is uh, Andrew Annenberg. He's been working with Paul for over 50 years.
Amazing.
And he paints with a single hair on his brush, created the album cover called The Miracle of Dolphins, where Paul took the tone of dolphins, slowed them down, found the same notes on the piano. And that was the album that
Say
first
that. Wait
gave
a
me
minute.
the
You got to say
recognition.
that. You got to say that again slower, because that has to sink in for people. What you just said. What did he do? He took the sound of
Took the
dolphins.
sound of dolphins, they slowed it down. They worked with the Oceanographic Society in Hawaii and another group, and also the Navy. And they were able to find a way to slow the chatter and the squealing sound down of the dolphin until it was almost into human voice and the tones that he could find on the piano. And over a period of time, he found the specific notes, and then he started making the melody and then going over and over again until he had these beautiful ideas in composition. And from that, the album called The Miracle of Dolphins, the first 3 tracks specifically go into that. And that was actually the same time that he had just finished doing this series of performances live at sea with the whales, and PBS wanted to know if the whales would respond to his music. And of all things, there he is on the sailboat.
Is this a picture or a painting?
It's a
Photo or
painting. Yeah, it
painting?
was a painting rendition done with the whales performing underwater ballet
To his music.
Oh
to
my
his music.
God.
Yeah. And the divers were like, get me more film, get me more film. We've never seen anything like this before. And this is 1976, right? So this happened a
Wow.
long time ago. So he was like the first really to bring out the type of work to perform live in nature. I'm sure that
Samples and
natives
stuff.
have done this. They probably had their flute and their harp. As a matter of fact, where my name came from, Arion was saved by dolphins. That was 2,500 years ago now. And
That's what it means, saved by dolphins?
Arion was saved by dolphins. And we have determined that his father was a fisherman. And from the writings that Paul Lloyd Warner has done, it's about a 400-page manuscript of Arion and the dolphins. And it's going to be this whole journey. And I think there's this one whole part where his father is throwing out the nets to capture the fish for the community. And young Arion is playing his six-stringed harp right there to the ocean. And
Wow.
then he won this whole competition later in life up in Syracuse, Sicily, came back on a merchant ship. The men wanted to kill him for his treasures, and instead he sang one last song, jumped overboard, and the dolphins found him.
Wow. That's a
So
story.
these works
Beautiful.
that Paul has written are epic manuscripts that will go into novel and then into full screenplay
They're
and motion picture.
allegorical stories, very beautiful. And it's
Yeah,
so I just keep thinking the synchronicity about the fact that the Seaside Center for Spiritual Living not only has Paul's Bosendorfer piano, but unrelated to Paul, but mystically related, is this beautiful sculpture of a dolphin in an alcove that has been named, what is it, the Dolphin Legacy or Legacy of the Dolphin,
yeah,
or
yeah,
something
yeah.
like that.
For people who have given a bequeathment or something to the church, a donation on a large significant size, they have a little placard for them, and then there's it's a beautiful lit up area with this sculpture of a massive, huge dolphin. I mean, a real life size type of
Life-size
dolphin.
dolphin,
And of
and
course,
then this
Paul,
magnificent mural, right? This magnificent
yeah,
mural, which has a more kind of stylized image of dolphins playing in the ocean, and it's just so mystical, like the themes and the merging of all these different aspects that that's making everything about this feel like so divinely orchestrated. Right? It's divinely orchestrated, and I could just see the maestro Paul up there just like tickled and delighted as he's pulling all these pieces together and getting to bring the community together to really
yes,
share his music in a big way. And this is kind of going back to the theme of purpose, calling, and passion. Is the thing that those of us who are blessed or cursed to be born with this sort of extra urge to make a difference on the planet.
yes,
And this urge creates a sense of urgency in us that oftentimes doesn't let us rest, like, and can get really, really out of balance as we're like sacrificing our peace and our joy and our pleasure in the present moment out of this sense of calling that is like pulling us forward, and we are like in this illusion of time and this dimension, and we are afraid we're going to run out of time and we're not going to fulfill our vision and we're not going to succeed in our mission and all this kind of stuff. And it's like now that I've been on the planet enough to see so much in terms of my own journey and other people's journeys, and how many artists get recognized posthumously and how many artists never get recognized, visionary humanitarians. And and this is not to put any pressure on you at all, because I'm sort of a champion for you, for your own healing from the intensity of this amazing journey and service, because not only were you his business partner, holder of his dreams, and now the holder of his legacy, but you're also his best friend and ultimately his caregiver in the later years for a long
I
time.
was.
And that's a huge commitment, and that's a lot of self-sacrifice, a lot of selflessness, and his transition is still very fresh.
Mm, mm,
And and I know that you have a lot of calming down and dropping in and self-care that is vital for you to restore yourself and restore your balance. And he is so blessed to have had you, and he is so blessed to have you still with this sense of passion and purpose to continue to bring these works out into the world. And so, to the best of your ability, I want to hold the space for you to find the way to do it with a sense of balance and self-care and tuning into yourself. And still, he is going to live on beyond his lifetime because of you
yeah,
and people that loved him
yeah,
along with you.
yeah. I've definitely been the custodian, the caretaker, the chief orchestrator, the influencer to millions already. I can't even count all the people we've had these connections with, mostly by doing art shows and festivals and trade shows and fairs and being in, setting up over 1,000 events and really connecting with people and hearing their cry and their call. The father that comes up and saying, I haven't been able to cry until I heard this music. My son had died 2 years ago, and now I'm able to cry and feel my son through this music. And then what did
It's
Paul do?
tremendous.
He and we connect with the Father up in the great Northwest. We go off in the Puget Sound, and he conducts and composes new music and dedicated to Thor. And it comes out and it's deep. It's deep. You feel it.
It's
And
so
there's
beautiful.
no words to it. It's actually, one of them was called The Great Northwest on the Mountains album, and it's with the violin and the violin orchestra and the choral where he sings to his fingertips. But that's the most. It's not like words, but his symphonic choral themes are very haunting.
Mm,
And
mm,
one of the
mm.
things he would say is that music is the healing, is healing the wounds that medicine cannot.
Yeah, because it's visceral and it's energetic and it's vibrational. And that's why, like, the coming out these days of vibrational medicine is so exciting. And why we all bond again around the healing power of music. Stu is saying I was feeling very emotional while the music was playing. Gio said, did Paul specifically work with healers and music applications?
A lot. Yeah, we had over the years, to give you an idea, let's go all the way back into those 70s when he was gifted one of the pianos after doing this great event on the sailboat, and they flew him to Los Angeles from Hawaii. Well, after he got done, while they were doing all the editing in the bays and that, he would go off and walk the streets in Los Angeles, and he went into this one store and he made friends with this store owner. Well, of all things, the store owner takes him downstairs. He goes, "Oh, you're a pianist. Come downstairs. I got a piano." Well, Paul starts playing it with his eyes closed and just creating the most beautiful music. And the guy goes, man, this piano has never been touched like this before. You know what? I don't need this piano. You do. I'm going to go and ship it to you back to Hawaii. And you know what? I have an analog recording studio right here. I'm not using it. It's just sitting here collecting dust. It's a high-end system. You deserve it.
Oh my God.
This part of it is in storage. It's probably just for parts. Yet we have over 250 reel-to-reels, 12-inch or is it 15-inch to 12-inch reels, I guess they are. So I'm sitting on this analog recordings of his earlier solo piano, which are probably masters and sometimes masters of masters copies. Yet there's a good body of work. And I'm now ready to build the team to create the archival and restoration of not just the analog recordings of those 250 plus, but also I have when we were starting to record, everything was done on digital DAT, digital audio tape. And so we have about 350 of those. So
You know,
once I
Arion,
create this team,
what's coming into my mind is
The recording
I don't know
studios
if you've
has
been there yet or
this
not, but
environment.
yeah,
San Diego is the home of the Museum of Making Music. Have you
mm,
been there?
I have with Bethany, with the Hutchins consort and the 8-piece violin group.
Wow.
Yes,
Well,
I think
they
that would be ideal.
yeah, they could have some sort of either a temporary or permanent installation, like a Paul Lloyd Warner room, and a lot of that stuff could be, you know, displayed there with lucite and things that protect it. And
Yeah,
but that
yeah.
would be amazing because I mean, obviously, how many years was he in San Diego?
We moved down here. We've been coming down here since probably 1992, 93. We moved
Okay.
into San Diego's community in 1997. Then I joined
Mm-hmm.
one of my dear friends when I was living in Del Mar. Then we moved to Solana Beach and created the Bouncing Buddha House.
I
Oh,
remember that. I remember that
Yep.
place.
that's
I didn't know
That
you
was with
living there,
Chris
but
Luth
yeah, Chris
and
Lewis.
yes,
Rose Rohr.
yes, yes, yes.
Yeah, dear,
Gia
dear
says, I can't wait to
friends.
hear more of the music and see the visuals too. Stu, me too. Stu says it's like a Laserian production, only more moving than what I've seen of that. I haven't seen much. That's why I'm suggesting you got to go see Beautifica at the Fleet
Yeah.
Science Center. You will get so inspired, so inspired. Wowie kazowie, Ariane, I could be here with you for a very, very long time.
Yeah,
But
we could. Well, why don't we make we'll do an episode series and collect people so that more people can come on your show and so that we can really inspire and uplift and co-create a beautiful style of us as the visionaries to humanity to bring in healing and peace and that global vision for what is so important for our world today.
yes. Well, God bless you. Do pop again into the chat the link specifically related to the celebration of life scheduled for Sunday, the last blue sound.
All right.
And
I might go
we
off screen real quick. Let me see as I go and get this for.
well, I'll complete with you and I'll release you from the screen and then you can just post whatever you need to. We still have what time is it? We have about 45 minutes left, so you'll still have plenty of time to pop things in there, as well as reminding people that in the description for this live event are all the links related to Paul's website, Paul's podcasts, how to get a hold of Arion, and the celebration of life this coming Sunday. And if you're local to San Diego, we'd love to see you live, and if you're not, we'd love to see you online. Thank you so much for sharing your heart and your wisdom, your passion, your enthusiasm. And I'm honored to be on this planet with your character at this very time. Okay, I'm gonna say goodbye, love. You don't have volume all of a sudden. I don't know. Thanks for being here. Blessings. When you really get how blessed we are to get to be here in these bodies, in these forms, in these characters, as these vessels that are in service to a consciousness that is beyond our capacity in these limited forms to fully understand and experience, we can be so humbled for the honor of getting to show up. And if we have gifts to share, that we get to share those gifts, and those gifts get to touch people. And we really have no idea how many lives we touch. Somebody spoke about the domino effect of touching a life and not knowing how what you may have said or done, or how your energy was, or how much love or compassion or support that you showed, and the difference that you made in another person's life, and then all the lives that they go on to make a difference in. So, it's like I've said before, I love the expression that God made the world round so we wouldn't see too far down the road. It's so that we really be here now. We really immerse ourselves in the miracle that is the present moment. And whatever we are engaging with right here and right now is so sacred and such a blessing and such a gift. And our experience is purely subjective. It's purely our perspective. And if we are not enjoying our perspective, we get to stop and change it. And we get to be in gratitude. And I contend that the more we are in gratitude, the more we are in a state of grace. And we can function at the pace of grace, and we can experience more ease and flow and magic coming in without our resistance and without our doubt blocking and making it more difficult for us. So whatever you do, whatever delights you and brings you pleasure, that is your birthright. And you get to enjoy yourself. You get to indulge in that. And you get to choose. Even if the circumstances around you are difficult and demanding and potentially horrifying, you get to connect to the sacredness of your own being and the blessing of your own existence and the role and the purpose that you are serving in the unfolding of the divine play and the awakening of humanity. It's been interesting several weeks for me, a couple of weeks, as it relates to the terrorist attack in the Gaza, Israel area. And as one who has come in through a portal of awareness of a lot of heinous things, man's inhumanity to man, and a lot of suffering and grief, and inspired as a result of it to be a world server, to to be a global visionary humanitarian and to make my life be a source of healing and peace versus a source of chaos and contempt. I had set out to see world peace realized in my mother's lifetime. And she made her transition out of this dimension 3 years ago. And to see the state of the world right now is can be a cause of great despair, because not only have I not achieved being a catalyst for the realization of world peace in my mother's lifetime, at least not in my immediate awareness, the world seems to be functioning at 180 degrees in the other direction, with so much shocking, despicable activity taking place. And so it has required a willingness in me to make a very rigorous decision, and that is to trust that there is this overarching intelligence that has a plan unfolding that we are all, cogs in the wheel of. And just like the biblical quote, "Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I shall fear no evil," is like, okay, this is giving me so much opportunity to be in gratitude, because I'm over here and I am safe and I am healthy and I am free. And I am so profoundly blessed to get to exist that I really invite you to take on, because it's not just about me, it's about we. Like, who are we being, and who are we going to be? Who are we choosing to be in the face of so much darkness? Are we going to allow ourselves to be consumed by it, or are we going to be the light that is facing it, or sometimes in the center of it, and that one little light can dispel the darkness, can evaporate it, can dissolve it, can disintegrate it. And I'm reminded of a quote from Abraham Hicks that says, stop telling God how big your problems are. Instead, tell your problems how big your God is. And, a rose by any other name. You can call it whatever you like. If you don't like the word God, if it triggers you, if it offends you in some way, you can call it source intelligence. You can call it the benevolent animator that breathed life into all of us, and that is the source of our sustenance. You can call it source. You can call it Great Spirit. You can call it whatever you want. You can call it the Great Schnai in the sky. Or as a friend of mine calls his Gus, is God, universe, source, or spirit. I forget which one she uses. But the point is that the way most of us have been programmed has been to be so caught up in the hamster wheel, in the illusion of time and the illusion of survival, that we're disconnected from the miraculous dimension that is a mystery. That no matter how smart we ever become, we will never fully understand. and all we can do is marvel at it and be in awe of it and be in service to it. So for me, in the face of this darkness, I mean, the two things that come up is one, that there's so much light on the planet right now, and this is referred to as the Messiah generations, and we are the ones that we've been waiting for, and love drives up everything unlike itself for healing. And so all this repressed rage and despair and anger and grief that has been, lurking in the shadows for eons, for millennia, is needing, it's like a pressure release valve, and if there's not healthy ways to discharge it, then it gets released in unhealthy ways. And so so that's one thing, is that uh, this is all coming up for healing and examination, and that we are on the verge of a global awakening of the oneness, of transcending the illusion of separation. And so I feel like my role here at this point, again, in terms of purpose, calling, and mission, because it's like we go through our lives and we ask ourselves, why am I here? Why am I here? Why am I here? And we keep thinking we land on it, and then it sort of moves about. And that's because we're constantly refining ourselves, and we're giving up programming that potentially caused us to have misguided aspirations that were more ego-based versus service-based. And it's not to say that our ego can't be in service to our altruistic mission here, but it really, it's like I'm always looking for, since I'm such a word alchemist, I'm always looking for the simplest way that I can say what there is to do that resonates with me. And it feels like it comes down to choosing to be honoring life, honoring my own life, and honoring all life, to be that present and that grateful for what an enormous gift we have each been given, that more often than not we take for granted. And if my whole intention is to be honoring life, mine and all, then it seems to me that that eliminates all fear. Because if I'm honoring life, then I'm honoring the source of life. And if I'm honoring the source of life, then I'm trusting it. And I'm feeling safe in it. And I can calm down, and I can rest in it. And then I move through life functioning at the pace of grace, whatever that means to me. So I invite you to consider, what does that mean to you? Honoring life, honoring your own life, honoring all life, and functioning at the pace of grace. Because in order to live a congruent life, where what we say, what we think, and what we do are in alignment, it requires finding our authentic voice. And the authentic voice is the voice that is buried beneath the programming, beneath the wounding. So when we connect with our true selves, our true heart, which is a humble heart, which is a grateful heart, because we're aware of the miracle of our own being, then everything that we do, everything that we're impulse to, is in service to that. And we can feel safe and confident doing it because we're just being natural. We're not worrying about what we sound like. We're not worrying about what we look like. We are surrendering the argument that goes on inside of us that wants to stop us from expressing ourselves and wants us to sort of self-consciously try to fit in and get along. And we're like, wait a minute, I was created as a unique vessel. There is no one else I'm supposed to be like. And the greatest contribution that I can make is to be the peace that I want to see. And the only way that I can be the peace that I want to see is to feel safe and trusting inside my own skin. And the only way that I can feel safe and trusting inside my own skin is to be humbly connected to the miracle that I am and the miracle that you all are. How y'all doing out there? Anyone will tell you that you gotta choose. Pick the right profession. If you snooze, you lose. But I refuse. Oh, I forgot my words. I forgot my words. I'm gonna look them up. Oh, I didn't save this one. Let's see if I can remember. But I refuse to tie me down. I'm having too much fun. There's such a lot to see and do. I've barely begun. Every day is different, every moment new. Who's to say which road is the right one for you? Desire is a changing thing, the world a grand buffet, and I intend to taste a lot. So listen when I say I'm a joy-seeking being, just inventing my life. I owe nothing to no one and I don't need no strife. Call me lover or teacher, call me artist or wife. Won't confine me with labels, I'm just playing my fife. Yesterday is history, tomorrow is a dream. Come smell the jasmine, come taste the cream. The present is the gift, my friend, don't let it slip away. Since now's the only time that's real, I'm living for today. I'm a joy-seeking being, just inventing my life. I owe nothing to no one and I don't need no strife. Call me artist or teacher, call me lover or wife. Won't confine me with labels, I'm just playing my fife. Ba-da-dum, ba-da-da-dum, ba-da-dum, ba-da-dum, ba-da-da-dum, ba-da-dum, ba-da-dum, ba-da-dum. Anyway, I don't know where that one came from, why that one wanted to be sung, because I obviously didn't pull it out as one I thought I would be doing. But anyway, if you're new, if you just arrived, Arath Albanez, welcome. Nice to see you. Bracha, nice to see you here. The description in the thread above this video will share a lot with you about what you have tuned into, who my special guest was today, how you can support this ongoing community enrichment project, and if you are interested in attending the Celebration of Life for Paul Lloyd Warner, whether live or virtually, instructions are there via a link above as well. So let's see, a little time check. It's about 6:35, so we got 25 or so minutes left. Anybody out there want to come chat with me? I welcome you. If you're gonna if you're gonna pop your cherry for going live, here's a safe place to do it. And if you've been on before and you want to chat with me, I welcome you as well. Our subject today is purpose, calling, and passion, and how that plays out in your life, how it feeds your life, how it challenges your life, how it burdens your life, how it informs your life. Whatever it is for you, let's talk about that, because you know I say that the consciousness, the brilliant consciousness that conceived and animates each and every one of our characters with such meticulous nuance and attention to detail has something very, very specific in mind for each of us. And as we awaken to what that might be for us, we can become a light in supporting somebody else in coming to it for themselves. And that way we have the most fulfilling experience we possibly can. And it makes life a lot more enjoyable when we feel like we're on purpose and that we are. It's really ultimately more about who we're deciding that we're being versus how much we actually accomplish, because it's actually um, more about the intention that informs our lives, because we don't seem to have a lot of control over how far we get with our projects. It's like some very sophisticated form of whittling, like taking a piece of wood and a knife, and you're carving that knife. It's like we give ourselves things to do, things that we get to do. I really call into question our programming related to have to, and invite us to really contemplate the question, what is a have to and what is actually a get to? And if it's true that it is God's great pleasure to give us this kingdom or queendom, then pretty much everything here is a get to. And if we are determining what we choose to fill our moments, our precious moments with things that we enjoy, that delight us and inspire us, and give us a meaningful sense of purpose to our existence. So it's like, as you say, the joy is in the journey. It's whether we actually get to see our visions realized in this lifetime, or whether they get realized posthumously, or whether they never get realized, but they still inform how we choose to live from moment to moment and day to day. And so it feels really wise to drop in with oneself and get clear and get honest about what really, really feels good to you. Because I contend that there is no success without inner peace. And so it's kind of like, again, the Bible, seek ye first the kingdom within, and all this will be added unto you. And so it's like the biggest treasure is finding that peace that puts me in alignment with my original template. And for me, in terms of the folklore of the story of my existence, is the daughter of two Holocaust survivors who were concentration camp prisoners, and so they came out with a great deal of trauma, having experienced World War and a lot of loss. And so it makes sense that the deepest wish of their hearts was to create a peaceful world. And so it would make sense that I would come out as a natural peace ambassador And my journey has been to figure out what peace feels like in my body, because I also came in with a lot of inherited PTSD. So it seems like God doesn't give us more than we can handle, and the things that we go through are the sort of like the pumice stone that we use to smooth the precious stone, and so it's like these obstacles and these challenges. What doesn't kill us strengthens us, and if we maintain, and this is something I get to thank my mother for, because the lesson, the takeaway from my relationship with my mother was, you can survive anything. And so it was like, okay, Mom, after what you lived through, I'm taking that on as truth. And so it's like, no matter what I face in my life, it's like, if I can see this as an opportunity for growth and transformation and transmutation and transcendence, as opposed to just some insurmountable um, major drag, that is looming large over me, this like threatening energy. And it's like, to decide to walk with this benevolent source, and be the light, and stare down the darkness, stare it down with love and faith and compassion, because underneath that hurt, wounded, misguided energy of that apparent other is another self that is divine and sacred, and has forgotten or never been told. But on a certain level, the indignation of not being treated with as as an equal, with a level of reverence and respect that we all do, all sentient creatures, which is why I'm vegan, because I don't think that humans are superior to any other creature that our Creator breathed life into. So as long as I get to be here in this body, in this form, with this consciousness and these gifts and this burning yearning to connect and share, I will keep showing up. And if I touch you, if I make a difference in your life, if I can support you in some way to find and activate your authentic voice, I would be honored to do that. Because if we are not connected to our authentic voice, it's not our fault. We come by our handicap, if you will, honestly, based on our early life experiences that shut us down in certain ways and made us self-conscious and made us unsure of ourselves and whether our voice and our opinion matters. And I'm here to tell you that it does. Your voice, your opinion, they matter. If they didn't, you wouldn't be here. Anybody want to come talk with me? So I'm curious if you notice a difference or you have a preference of whether I have a pre-planned theme or simply show up and speak to whatever's alive in the moment. Because I noticed that, you know, like I do this broadcast on Tuesday, and then I download it. Hopefully I get to it Tuesday night. I try to do it immediately. I download it to my desktop, and then I upload it to my YouTube channel, and then by Wednesday or Thursday at the latest, I create the promo for next week, and so it's kind of like, well, what do I want the theme to be? And so, like, in a moment, something may come to me or something may not come to me, and sometimes it feels arbitrary, and sometimes it feels forced, and sometimes it feels spot on. And I'm so fickle as a triple Gemini, Gemini, Sun, Moon, and Mercury. So that's 3 sets of twins. So there's a committee of 6 in my head that all have an opinion about what would be optimal to speak on and share about. And so, like the stubborn, rebellious teenager doesn't really want to commit to anything other than to show up. At the same time, in terms of preparing and planning for guests and stuff, obviously there's value in having some idea. So anyway, it's still all new and an experiment, and I'm open to feedback, and thank God I have given up the need to come across like I know exactly what I'm doing. So I just show up and play and make my inner little girl happy. Ah. All that I be is a hologram, a thought manifest in the great I am, here for one flash of eternity, one wave on the shore of an endless sea. All that I be is a hologram, a thought manifest in the great I am, here for one flash of eternity, one wave on the shore of an endless sea. I am one with all that is, body, mind, and soul. I am here as peace on earth, one facet of the whole. I deserve to live my life just dancing to the beat. I deserve to be myself with everyone I meet. I deserve to give myself the sun, the moon, the sea. I deserve to see myself in every he and she. I deserve to have it all, yes, every blessed thing. I deserve to have it now, Lord, listen to me sing. And I allow it now, Lord, I allow it now. I allow it now, Lord, I allow it now. Every thought I ever thunk, I need to think anew, to rid my mind of all the junk that kept me apart from you. There's nothing out of bounds, dear Lord, outside your sweet embrace. No woman, man, or creature can sacrifice their place. So I deserve to have it now, yes, every blessed thing. I deserve to have it all, Lord, hear me when I sing. And I allow it now, Lord, I allow it now. I allow it now, Lord, I allow it now. All that I be is a hologram, a thought manifest in the great I am, here for one flash of eternity, one wave on the shore of an endless sea. You live in me and I in you forever and beyond. Through birth and death in every breath, eternal is our bond. The only sin in life I know is when I doubt you're here. The only fool thing I could do is spend my time in fear. So I deserve to have it all, yes, every blessed thing. I deserve to have it now, Lord, hear me when I sing. And I allow it now, Lord, I allow it now. I allow it now, Lord. I allow it now. I got one body to care for, one mind, one heart. I got just thee to be there for, so leave me to my part. And I allow it now, Lord. I allow it now. I allow it now, Lord. I allow it now. I allow it now. I allow it now. All that I be is a hologram, a thought manifest in the great I am. Here for one flash of eternity, one wave on the shore of an endless sea, one splash on the shore of an endless sea, one crash on the shore of an endless sea. Might as well enjoy it as much as we can while we can, because none of us know what the next moment holds. All we can do is give thanks for this one. If you want to, take a deep breath, raise your arms up over your head, stretch your spine, turn your hands over and reach the palms all the way up to the sky. Inhale, and on the exhale, and release your hands. We get to be in these bodies. We get to be in these forms. We get to have these personalities. We get to have these relationships and these interactions with one another. And we get to see the things that we get to see. And we get to hear the things we get to hear. And we get to smell and we get to touch and we get to taste. We are so blessed. We are so blessed, and we take so much for granted. Ah! I am here to remind you and to inspire you to remind me and to remind others when we forget, because we all need to be lifted. And the critical mass will happen when the light is shining so bright that the darkness can't stand a chance in the face of it. And that's what we're here for, to stand tall and strong and let our candles burn bright, let our inner flames burn bright. Be the light, be the change, be a lighthouse unto the world. It's like, yes, there's all these shadows and boogeyman here, but we just dispel all that. So when it seems like, what am I doing here? What is this place with all this pain and all of this despair? We're here because we are the ones representing the light, so we can help those who have forgotten. I love you, Bracha. Thank you. Thank you. How are we on time? We got about 7 minutes left. Anybody want to come on, say a quick hello and share what's in your heart, what's alive for you right here, right now, in the perfect present, in the face of so much chaos and calamity on the world stage? Who do you want to be? Who do you want to be? I invite you to step into it. The grandest, most fully actualized, empowered, unself-conscious, unapologetic, humble, grateful version of you. So you can actually enjoy getting to be you. Every breath, every action. There's an old, I think it's a Zen saying, or attributed to the Buddha or something. Before enlightenment, chop wood, carry water. After enlightenment, chop wood, carry water. So the only difference is our attitude. The only difference is our perspective. Instead of lamenting, why is it me that is having to do this? It becomes, how blessed am I to be the one getting to do this, whatever this is. And it requires claiming it, even in the midst, and especially in the midst of your most challenging circumstances. Because we cannot transform the field, which is responding to our energy. It's just a giant feedback loop, and it is self-fulfilling. And so if we are shouting no at it, and we are complaining about it, and we're criticizing it, and we're pushing against it, and we're resisting it, all we're doing is making it stronger. And it's kind of like martial arts. It's like Aikido. If we accept it and say, this must be God's will too, because it's here, because it's happening. This must be divine too, even though to my sensibilities and programming, it seems absolutely the opposite of that. But in my humility, in my surrendering to not knowing, because I can't possibly know, I say, okay, God, if this is what you want, then I need to figure out how to be okay still, and grateful still, and inspired still. So I come back to choosing to be honoring life, honoring my life, honoring all life, and see how that shifts your experience of engaging with anyone and anything. Because the after enlightenment, chop wood, carry water, is that it's like, oh my God, I have these hands. Oh my God, I have these eyes. I can see what I'm doing, and my doing is improving something. It's cleaning it, it's healing it, it's making some kind of an order. And in my little world, it's like in Judaism, they say uh, peace in the home, peace in the community, peace in the world. And I add to that peace within me. So it all starts with me. It all starts within the body of my own individual unique experience to find my way to peace and gratitude. So we are coming upon our bewitching hour. Thank you for being here with me. Thank you for showing up. Thank you for holding space. Thank you for your love and support. There's all kinds of ways that you can do it. It's all in the description. And if I can support you in your vocal activation, I am inspired and honored to do that. So please reach out to me, and we can have a private conversation about what that could look like. So infinite blessings. Please share this on your pages. You can still do it after the fact, and it will be available as a replay here on Facebook, and I will also create it as a YouTube and post it here in the next day or two as well. Okie dokie. See you, God willing, God Goddess willing, for episode 12 next Tuesday, 5 to 7 p.m. Pacific time.